it wherever you want.
It does not match indeed the order.
Okay, welcome back. I really have to admit this is maybe one of my favorite panels because ChatGPT is, as you know, extremely hyped. And before we start with the discussion, maybe we can ask the audience, so raise your hands. And first of all, who never used ChatGPT so far? Raise your hands. Don't be shy. We are not judging. Who is using ChatGPT on weekly basis, at least? Okay. Who is using ChatGPT on daily basis? Okay. On our basis? Okay, fantastic. So we are still not there yet on the hour basis, but maybe we will be there, right?
Yeah.
Interesting panel, like I already said. The title is Hey ChatGPT, How to Use Gen AI for Customer Insights, which certainly is, I would say, the prerequisite for customer experience. 4 extraordinary panelists here. So from my left to the right, I will start with you, Chetak. Chetak, how are you? And maybe you can brief us about your background.
Thank you, Dario. Pleasure to be here. I had commercial operations for Merck's Oncology business. So in a way, trying to look at the business challenges and how we can leverage some of the technology and newer ways of addressing them. So looking forward to the discussion.
Thank you, Chetak. Hicham, I really have to say I'm super excited that you finally made it to next. You really were for many, many years on my list, so really, really super pleased to be here. And obviously, you're the right guy for answering on those questions.
So been nice with him because I think that's my first conference since 2019, actually. So I'm back.
So we have the pleasure.
My wife is happy because she said you were a hermit for a while. No, you have to get out. So my name is Hicham. I'm a healthcare professional by training. I'm a clinical pharmacist and 25 years in pharma. I'm leading strategy and transformation in Takeda. And also since 2 years, I'm a co-founder of Health Tech Without Border, which is I'm really proud of it. It's a huge now NGO present in 20 countries that basically leverage digital health and health tech to provide medical and humanitarian aid. It's a way for me to transform also humanitarian aid using data and digital.
Thank you, Hicham. Niccolò?
Yeah, I'm another solution strategist at Hyntelo. Basically, I support different companies in designing the right solution to address their own needs that are based on the data asset that they have and how to get most of the value from that.
Thank you, Niccolò. And also finally, we also have Robert here from the States. Robert, how are you?
Hi, Robert Stevens. Most recently was with Novartis Pharmaceuticals, where I led Global Medical Affairs Digital Data. Currently, I'm an advisor to SICK Venture Studio, which is an organization like an accelerator for startups in the US, as well as doing my own consulting on a topic of digital and medical affairs.
Thank you. So let's kick off the discussion. First question, let's build on real use cases, especially from the field of commercial and medical affairs. So what might be the pipe dream of Gen AI and customers' insights in pharma? Maybe we can again start with you, Chetak.
Yeah, I mean, like many in the audience, it's fascinating to see the churn through which each one of us went through when it came to the topic of Gen AI. And I was comparing, for example, we are not alien to technology coming to pharma operations, but we look at the speed at which this topic surfaced right from the bottom to the CEO's agenda was amazing. I mean, it just took the organization by storm. And I compare, for example, other major technologies like next best action. We have been talking about it for 5 years now. It took its while before it really surfaced and leadership started seeing that, yes, it can move the needle. And there are many others in terms of digital detailing, etc. It took its own sweet time before the organization started really appreciating the value. For Gen AI, it's really fascinating as much as the overall adoption of it is. At the same time, when we went through multiple workshops, it led to a realization that we need to crawl before we walk and run with this. It could be also a Pandora's box if you don't handle it right. So that's where we are. I'm happy to dwell on some of the use cases, but in general, the realization is that let's start from use cases which are a bit more inwardly focused on internal processes. We build credibility and understanding of the technology before we reach out to customers and expose ourselves.
Thank you, Chetak. Hicham?
Well, when I think about AI, I'm kind of in ambiguous situation because I'm super excited. What we'll be doing, but also I'm also scared, to be honest, because there are things that might happen that are out of our control. But coming back to whether first Gen AI and AI is a hype, I'm going to tell you it's not a hype. Why I'm saying that it's not a hype, forget Gartner's curve. It's all bullshit, we know that. There is something called a tipping point and mainstream. AI is not from last November. It started in the 50s with Alan Turing. But what's happened, now reach a tipping point, like what's happened with internet, with other GPTs. And GPTs, I don't mean here by ChatGPT. I'm talking about general purpose technology, like electricity and other technologies. AI, it's not a GPT, and it will have impact across all basic places, whether it's from the way we develop drugs, the way we develop services, it will impact everything in our life. Now, should we run and try something? I think we have to be agile and ambidextrous. That's a very hard word for me. Ambidextrous. What does it mean? I can do some incremental change and accompany the organization, but I also have to experiment some radical things. Because if I don't do that, trust me, I will be behind. November 1st, the ChatGPT in November last year, for this year actually, last year, 2022, a lot of change have changed actually. And the value I see, it's not only in the way you augment people, it's also the way you will facilitate the automation. And those are the two elements we need to look when we look to LLM. And last things I talk a lot, it's when we say LLM, what do we mean by that? Is that we are somehow democratizing the access to AI, because before you needed data scientists and coders. Now you're using human language, and even what is surprising is that with the voice, you're also democratizing access to everyone. I don't even need to write anymore. I can just talk to a machine, and the machine can do a lot of things that I couldn't do before.
I mean, the pace is fascinating, like you said, and I think what's also interesting is that for the very first time after 30, 40 years, we again have the moral law which is applicable, right, when it comes to the speed of development. So definitely, yes. Niccolò?
Yeah, indeed, the most powerful coding language today is plain English, basically. And since I will come from a solution company, maybe it can provide some problems and possible solutions that AI can serve. And one is in the democratization purpose is to let the business and the commercial operation be more data-driven by asking GPT to read their data in plain English, understand, so perform query in plain English to get the information and the insight from the data. And ChatGPT, for example, can provide also interpretation of the charts and of the image. So you can provide an image from your dashboards and you can have insights on that. And another problem in use case that maybe can be supported by generative AI by training a bit more the model compared to what is on the market today is for medical affairs, because they usually used to answer to a lot of questions that requires a lot of literature analysis and study on the publication that is going there, and it's time-consuming activity. And if you train generative AI model on publicly available information like PubMed or all the medical reviews, ChatGPT, and you can actually test it, provides you very good answers, summarizations, and list you and rank you all the articles there. So there is a big improvement in the efficiency in the work, the quality of the work that medical affairs can have on this specific topic that is maybe one of the most time-consuming for the fields, answering to the different questions. And I agree that maybe this is an internal efficiency, but maybe we can push it further in the future to provide directly to the ACP this kind of service where they can look for scientific articles and directly conversating with the generative AI model that provides information and the right paper they are looking for.
Thank you, Niccolò. Robert?
Thank you. So I'm gonna build on what you just said, but I also want to take a moment and reflect that, if you think about the timeline and evolution of this type of technology, the world has dealt with chatbots, and I would argue not quite well. I often would say that I have yet to meet a chatbot that I like. When you think about it, ChatGPT is an evolution, a much more informed evolution from that. So there is an adoption thing we have to really wrestle with. So a lot of hands go up when Dario asks about who uses it on whatever basis. I think we'll get there because I think the chatbots haven't really done super well. Now that being said, once we deal with the adoption and people actually using it, if you look at medical affairs as a function, I'll just talk very simple, not MD, just very simple. There's a function called medical information. Everyone knows what it is, right? So HCPs will call or send an email with a query, right? And then you have someone, a MedInfo specialist will go and obtain information, produce a standard response document, and then send that back out. It's time consuming, it's costly, right? So in terms of, I'm not there as what the pipe dream just yet is, because we have to nail the basics really well. Especially we're taking a chance of interacting with customers. What you don't want to do is launch a ChatGPT solution for medical information to automate the responses, and it doesn't work well. It doesn't give the right references, right? So I think once we get the basics really well, and we have to be bold in adopting it, once we start seeing that, and we get the feedback from customers. You sit in pharma, you think, oh yeah, that's we got to do ChatGPT because the whole world's doing it. But have you actually asked the customers, do they want chat or do they want a person? Because think about how many times you reach out to any company, an airline, and you're talking to, a voice system. Who loves it? I don't, right? So let's, it's a partnership we have to, so I would say, to get to that pipe dream, we got to bring customers in, co-create what that world will look like. And I think the example medical affairs, which I gave, is an easy one, which we have to tackle, and then we can go and get more aggressive from there.
Thanks a lot, Robert. I would say that we definitely can anticipate the whole hype and fame around ChatGPT like assistant to the humans, right? So how actually, based on insights which can be served to reps, to MSLs or field users, how actually they can work all together? So how ChatGPT or any other generative AI tool can work together with the rep and to deliver proper orchestrated insights? Chetak.
Yeah, mine goes to latest offering that we have from Microsoft. I don't know how anyone of you have used Copilot, which is a new version within Microsoft Suite. Amazing. I mean, this is the power of generative AI, at least at its next best, if not the best, where there is an interoperability, where it connects and you can feed 10 different documents to generate a PowerPoint, and that is exclusively based on those 10 documents. And if this is at least a proof point, I'm already dreaming very soon we should have a CRM environment where it should be possible. Maybe it's coming from Microsoft as a challenge to Viva, but clearly this is where the next opportunity lies, is how to build on what Robert was saying. The cool thing about this technology is going to be the interoperability, how you feed it with internal data sources, which then provides a more controlled environment, which is very key thing. I mean, when the first version of ChatGPT was rolled out, legal and compliance teams were freaking out because, I mean, you're throwing a lot of private personal information, confidential information, God knows where it goes and what happens to that. So you need to eventually, it's a very classical change approach. You storm before you normalize, and probably very soon, if the speed of the technology is any indicator, it will come much sooner, the phase of normalization, and that's when we start seeing the benefits and value.
Hicham?
Trying to put my thinking in order because I think most of you, let's do a survey. How many people have this cognitive overload or cognitive fatigue today? Just don't be shy. Raise your hand if you have this cognitive fatigue. Okay. I don't see a lot of people honest here. No, but seriously, there is a cognitive fatigue. We all have this cognitive because we're overloaded. And thinking that, for instance, if I take an MSL or CAM or in-field market access as a super people, like you train them, give them like objection handler, give them, you know, it's just too much for them. And if you think the same story from the HCP, where I believe that this kind of, I'm using also Copilot and also colleagues there is using it, yeah, it's helpful. And I think the way you can see those Copilots is almost like your intern. And yes, you're right, English will be the first language coding, but the way you talk to your intern and how nice you are to it, it's also another science that we should learn, like prompt engineering, how you prompt properly the Copilot. Now, if you ask me how things will evolve, I think there's a lot of value in terms of using as a Copilot because it can help you based on the context, provide you with your guidance or content. And you don't even need to train now a big LLM, which costs a lot. You just retrieve documents and give you even sources of medical information. What is this? And it gives you the answer, but also give you the source of the answer, whether it's an article, a white paper, or report, or whatever. But where I see the evolution also is going further than just using as an augmentation tool. Next step is you have a fully autonomous agent close to you. You don't talk to it as a copilot. It's your buddies that can, you know, knows which meeting you have with which customer and prepare you with everything. Then you will have, and it's already happening in open source community, fully autonomous teams, where you have a digital marketing team working autonomously. Give them a goal, here's my brand strategy, and they do everything. You know, give them the data, and they will come up with, here's the omnichannel engagement plan, how are the type of the content, how are the channels I will engage. You can do that. I think there's a lot of efficiency gain. And then you can go even to the next level where I believe, not today, but maybe in 5 years, who knows, maybe 50% of your workforce is fully autonomous agent. And we are going there. Now, the question is, they will not replace us. I think what makes us different from human, and I talk a lot, it's we're not anymore Homo sapiens as intelligent human being. It's Homo sapiens as people who experience and have consciousness. And I think we need both sometimes.
Absolutely. Niccolò?
Yeah, maybe I can expand also something you already said that, for example, in another sector, that is the gaming sector, they created what they call the AI agents. So there are players that play like humans, but they are generated by a generative AI model. And this could be also maybe applied in the pharma sector, where basically there are maybe a couple of problems that can be solved by generative AI, but with the right prompting. That is, one is let the headquarter interact with the ACP, even if they usually don't have this opportunity to refine their strategy, their activity. And on the other hand, provide to the ACP on a timely manner the right content. So this morning we were saying, no, the timing is the most important thing. How creating AI agents, so interacting with the generative AI as it behaves like an ACP to refine and test your strategy with different scenarios. And that's something that's possible via prompting. At the same time, the ACP wants specific information that the reps provided, I don't know, 1 year back in time, but the generative AI can provide the right answer based on the document that the ACP the rep provided to the ACP, and can interact with that with these virtual reps. So that's something that is already feasible by the right prompting and of the generative AI, and maybe can be interesting use case for the near future.
Absolutely. Robert?
So I'm going to address the invisible elephant in the room, which is when we talk about ChatGPT and its use cases in pharma, specifically for commercial and medical, development who engages with customers is often neglected in that conversation. Not saying it doesn't happen, but where is the synergy across development, commercial, and medical? Okay, because all these conferences I've seen, medical, commercial, no commercial, and development's kind of just left out there in the ether. And it really needs to be brought in if we're truly talking about customer experience. Now, the biggest opportunity, I think, for pharma and these functions is to really harmonize all customer-facing roles, be able to leverage both external data sets, internal data sets into one data lake, I'll call it that for easy purposes, and to then be able to utilize that and extract insights and then use those insights appropriately with customers. Because right now, I think for those that work at pharma companies, you know, so much information gets lost. The MSL goes in, logs in their insights, the rep does theirs, this one does theirs, and then, you know these firewalls, no one can talk to anybody. It's bizarre, right? Now, I know the regulations are important, but the reality is there's so much loss of efficiency in customer experience. So I think if companies invest more in setting up the right pipes internally, we can start aggregating insights and sharing, we'll then really better understand the customer, and that's where I think the biggest opportunity will be for pharma.
Thank you, Robert. Let's pick one or two questions from the audience, and I'm sure that there are some questions. Just please a short answer. Any questions? I think that everyone mastered ChatGPT. Oh, okay, here we have a question.
More a theme than a specific question, but just how do you guys think about trust? As I'm a doctor, as I'm a patient, as I'm looking anything up, and I start to recognize that from reps and from everybody else, I'm getting LLM generated answers. Yeah, I don't know a specific question.
You said trust, right?
Trust.
Yeah. So you ever get those automated emails, or like triggered emails, and it's like,
Never.
you know, hi, Rob, and then it's just like, and something like I've been fooled occasionally, right? And it's kind of like you feel stupid after it, right? So I think the first thing is you have to be very transparent. You have to give customers the option. It's almost like we call certain companies and goes, if you'd like to speak to a live person, the wait time is 3 minutes, or you can interact with our virtual assistant. Give people the choice. People love choice. If you force them into the ChatGPT situation, they may not like it and they'll look for the fault. Give them the option, at least in the beginning. And I think once you can do that, you start to build the trust. And we have to learn. It's not really fully baked in pharma yet. So I would say that.
I think there's something also on the line to that. If you have heard about the concept of alignment, which is basically AI-human alignment. We don't speak too much about that in pharma. Sometimes there's a complaint about the black box. So when you do AI discovery or algorithm for diagnostic, it's not necessarily clear how things are done and decided. And I think there is a need for an industry-wide conversation about AI safety and alignment also. And trust, I think it's a very intangible topic to talk about. And I strongly believe that because we will have more AI, more digital, the human touch, human relation will be very important, but not the way we have it today. You need a human face in front of you sometimes.
H to H it is. Yeah. Fantastic. Thanks a lot. Great discussion, and looking forward to the next one.
Thank you.